Radhe Krishna friends, welcome back to my channel Learn Homeopathic Medicine. Friends, today we are going to learn one important topic from anatomy, which is tongue. And this lecture is very important because it is a subject which is anatomy. It is included in all the medical courses, whether it may be BHMS, BDS, BAMS or MBBS. So this lecture is with notes. So let's start with the topic, and it can be asked in your exam for 10 marks or 15 marks. It is sometimes asked as 5 marks short notes also. So tongue. Tongue is a muscular organ situated in the floor of the mouth. It is associated with function of taste, speech, mastication and deglutination. It is an oral part lies in the mouth and pharyngeal part that lies in the pharynx. So oral and pharyngeal part are separated by the V-shaped sulcus called as sulcus terminalis, which is shown in the diagram. See, this is oral part and this is pharyngeal part, and this part are separated by a sulcus terminalis. Okay. So let's go to the external feature. The tongue has a root, a tip and a body. A body has curved upper surface or dorsum and inferior surface. Now dorsum is divided into an oral and pharyngeal part. Inferior surface is confined to the oral part only. Okay. The root is attached to the mandible above and hyoid bone below. It is between the two bones it is related to gynohyoid and mylohyoid muscle. The tip of the tongue form the interior free and which at rest lies behind the upper incisor teeth. Okay. The dorsum of the tongue is convex in all the direction. It is divided into an oral part, that is anterior 2/3, and pharyngeal part, that is posterior 1/3, by a faint V-shaped groove called as sulcus terminalis, which we have shown in the last figure. Here it is also shown in this figure. See, this is oral part and this is pharyngeal part, and which is separated by a sulcus terminalis. The two limbs of V meet at the median pit called foramen cecum. They run laterally and forward up to the palatoglossal arch. So this is foramen cecum. Okay, and this is anterior 2/3 and posterior 1/3. So let's go to the dorsum of the tongue. Okay, now in this figure they have shown oral part, which is anterior 2/3, and pharyngeal part which lies in the pharynx, that is posterior 1/3. Okay, and these are different parts which are described in the further lecture. Okay, an oral part or papillary part of the tongue, it is placed on the floor of the mouth and its margin are free and in contact with the gums and the teeth. Just in front of palatoglossal arch, each margin show 4 to 5 vertical fold called as follate papillae. So here you can see follate papillae. Here it is situated, follate papillae. Okay, papillae of the tongue. Now we will describe about what are the different types of papillae present in the tongue. Okay, the superior surface of the tongue has projection of mucus membrane corneum, which gives anterior 2/3 tongue its characteristic roughness. These are of the following three types. So the characteristic roughness of the tongue is because of the presence of papillae. So first of all, first papillae we will see is velate papillae. They are large in size, 1 to 2 in diameter, and are 8 to 12 in number. They are situated immediately in front of sulcus terminalis. They are cylindrical projection raised above the surface. So these are velate papillae. See, this is sulcus terminalis. Okay, and these are velate papillae. Fungiform papillae. They are numerous near the tip and the margin of the tongue, but some are scattered over the dorsum. They are smaller than velate papillae, but larger than filiform papillae. They consist of narrow pedicle and are large round headed. They are distinguished by the bright red color. So here you can see the bright red color. These are fungiform papillae. Okay, and filiform papillae. Conical papillae. These are also called as conical papillae. They are covered the pre-sulcus area of the dorsum of the tongue and give characteristic velvety appearance. They are smallest and numerous of lingual papillae. Each is pointed and covered with keratin. The apex is often split into the filamentous process. So we will now study the inferior surface of the tongue, and the inferior, it is covered with a smooth mucous membrane which shows median fold called as ferulum lingual. So this is the inferior surface of the tongue, and you will see the one sulcus which is called as ferulum. On either side of the ferulum, there is a prominence produced by a deep lingual veins. More laterally, there is fold called papica fimbriata. Okay, so this is ferulum, and this green color, it is deep lingual vein. Okay, and this is inferior part of the tongue, and lateral to this, it is papica fimbriata. Okay, this part is papica fimbriata, that is directed forward and medially toward the tip of the tongue. Okay, now we will come to the pharyngeal part. This was inferior part of the tongue, and now we will go to the pharyngeal part, that is posterior 1/3 of the tongue, which is also called as lymphoid part. So it lies behind the palatoglossal arch and sulcus terminalis. It is posterior surface, sometimes it is called as a base of the tongue. Okay, former interior wall forms the anterior wall of the oropharynx. The mucous membrane has no papillae but has many lymphoid follicles that collectively constitute the lingual tonsil. Okay, so we will see the diagram first. So this is pharyngeal part, this is posterior part, and these are lymphoids which are present in the pharyngeal part of the tongue. Okay, mucous glands are also present. Posterior part of tongue is connected to the epiglottis by three folds of mucous membrane. These folds are median glossoepiglottic fold, right glossoepiglottic fold, and left glossoepiglottic fold. On either side of the median fold, there is a pouch called vallecula. The lateral fold separates the vallecula from the piriform fossa. Okay, now we will go to the muscles of the tongue. What are the muscles present in the tongue which cause the movements in the tongue? So a middle fibrous septum divides the tongue into the right and left halves. Each halves contain 4 intrinsic and 4 extrinsic muscles. So first we will see intrinsic muscles. What are the intrinsic muscles? Superior longitudinal, inferior longitudinal muscle, transverse muscle, and vertical muscle. And now we will see external muscles. So it is genioglossus, hypoglossus muscle, styloglossus muscle, and palatoglossous muscles. Okay, and this diagram describes the coronal section of the tongue which show all the intrinsic and extrinsic muscle. This is superior longitudinal muscle, this is transverse and vertical muscle, this is inferior longitudinal muscle, this is styloglossal muscle, and these muscles are genioglossus muscle. This is great cornum of hyoid bone. Okay, so these are the muscles described in the coronal section of the tongue. The intrinsic muscles are attached to the submucous fibrous layer and to the median fibrous septum. They alter the shape of the tongue. Okay, the superior longitudinal muscle, it shortens the tongue and make the dorsum concave. This is the work of superior longitudinal muscle. Now inferior longitudinal muscle, it lies behind genioglossus and hyoglossal. It shortened the tongue and made the dorsum convex. Now transverse muscle, it makes the tongue narrow and elongated. Now vertical muscle will do the function of, it is found at the border of anterior part of the tongue. It makes the tongue broad and flattened. Okay, now we will see extrinsic muscles. Extrinsic muscles connect the tongue to the mandible and hyoid bone, the styloid process, and palate. Okay, so first of all we will see genioglossus muscle. It is fan shaped muscle which forms the main bulk of the tongue. It arises from upper genial tubercle of mandible. From there the fibers fan out and run backwards. The upper fibers are inserted in the tip, middle fibers are inserted in dorsum, and lower fiber are inserted in the hyoid bone. Upper fiber retract the tip, middle fiber depress the tongue, and lower fiber pull the posterior part of the tongue forward and protrude tongue from the mouth. Okay, so this is the function of genioglossus muscle. Now hyoglossous muscle, it is thin and quadrilateral muscle, origin from the great cone of the hyoid bone. Insert in the side of the tongue between styloglossal and inferior inferior longitudinal muscle of the tongue, and action is it depresses the tongue, make the dorsum convex, and helps in the retracting the protruded tongue. Okay, now we will see the styloglossal muscle. It arises from the tip of the tongue and styloid process, passes downwards and forward, and is inserted in the side of tongue, intermingled with the fibers of hypoglossals. It helps during swallowing food and pull the tongue upward and backward. So it is very important function of swallowing food. Which muscle is helpful for swallowing the food? Which is styloglossal muscle. Now palatoglossal muscle. It pulls the root of the tongue, approximate the palatoglossal arch, and thus close the oropharyngeal isthmus. Okay, so this was the muscles of the tongue. We will see the arterial supply of the tongue. It is chiefly from the lingual artery, a branch of external carotid artery. The root of tongue is also supplied by tonsillar and ascending pharyngeal arteries. We will see now venous drainage. The deep lingual vein is the largest principal vein of the tongue. It is visible in the inferior surface of the tongue. The lingual vein ends either in the common facial vein or in the internal interjugular vein. We will see now the lymphatic drainage. Tip of the tongue is drained into a submental node. Right and left half of the tongue is drained in the submandibular node, and posterior one-third of the tongue drains bilaterally to jugulo-omohyoid node. Okay. We will study now nerve supply of the tongue. What are the nerve supplies? So motor nerve, all the intrinsic and extrinsic muscles except palatoglossal are supplied by hypoglossal nerve. Palatoglossus is supplied by accessory nerve. Okay. Now sensory nerves. Lingual nerve is for general sensation, and chorotympany is nerve for taste for anterior 2/3 of the tongue. Posterior 1/3 of tongue is supplied by glossopharyngeal nerve and vagus nerve. Now we will see the applied anatomy. So we will see in which condition it is useful to see the tongue. What are the anatomical changes? In which condition we will see the anatomy is changed of the tongue? First in the glossitis, we will see that is in anemia, the tongue become bled due to atrophy of the filiform papillae. Okay. Now in the undersurface of tongue is good site for observation of jaundice with the bulbar conjunctiva. In patient with a grand mal epilepsy, tongue is commonly bitten between the teeth during attack. This can be prevented by putting gag at the onset of the seizure. And next is carcinoma of the tongue, which is treated by the radiotherapy and surgery or both, with all the deep cervical lymph nodes are removed to avoid the recurrence. But carcinoma in the posterior 1/3 of the tongue is more dangerous due to bilateral lymphatic spread. Okay. Next is injury to hypoglossal nerve produces paralysis of the tongue. If there is lesion of infranuclear, there is gradual atrophy of the affected half of the tongue. If there is lesion of the supranuclear of the hypoglossal nerve, which produces paralysis without wasting. So this was the applied anatomy, and this is all about this lecture. Do like, share and subscribe. Jai Bharat, Jai Hind.